What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Robinson Motorsports. Tonight I'm going to be replacing the steering stem bearings in Project Frankenripper. So in order to replace these bearings, we need to get this triple off. To do that, front wheel needs to come off, the forks need to come off, the handlebars can stay on there because the top clamp we're just going to take off with the bars. Cables can stay on there, everything. Obviously this isn't built up to that point yet. Once we get all that stuff off, we can go over to the bench, knock this bottom bearing off. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then knock both of the inner races out of the stem or out of the steering head itself. Alright, now that we got the triple off, we're going to pop these outer races out of the steering head here. It's kind of simple if you know what you're looking for and know what you're doing here. There's a lip that's just barely showing of that outer race in here. See if I can get a picture of it and get my pick just underneath it on here. But if you look down in the bottom there, I can get my pick just on that one right there. So what you're gonna want to do is get yourself a punch. This is a just a regular piece of 5/16 rod. It's not hardened or anything. I file the edges, or I grind the edges so it's nice and square so I can get on that lip. We're gonna set that down in there after we heat that up a little bit with some MAP gas or some like little propane torch. Heat that up a little bit just to kind of get the metal moving. Then hit it with that and it should knock it right out. Alright, we got the outer races out of the steering neck there. So we have our bottom triple here, and this bearing right here is kind of a tough one to get off. You could put this whole thing in a press and press the stem down out through the bottom, and the bearing kind of comes out with it. Or you can do it a way that I've been doing it lately is you cut the cage off, put it in a vise upside down, heat the bearing itself or the inner race itself so it starts to expand a little bit, and then you can knock it down off of there with a punch. So there's really, it's just a messy way to get in here, but you just destroy this bearing, get it on that cage and break it, do anything you can to get it off because it's already worn out. So you can see I just cut two of them there. Cut two of them there, and I'm just gonna pry it out till it breaks. Snip it off here. Then you can see the bearing just comes right apart. Now you're just left with this inner race right here. You can cut it with like a grinder right in here without trying to nick the bottom here or nick the tube. You can see a lot of people they'll do that and they'll leave a little bit of a scar right there from it. But if you heat this up, it should expand enough that it'll slide right off the aluminum. Alright, you can see it's starting to open up right there. So we got all the pieces of the bearings, the inner, the outer races removed from the bike completely, and the triples here. So now we're going to start building it up. We've obviously cleaned what we could. Once we got everything done, we want to always clean while you're in there. I like to save all the races right here because they work as drivers when you're trying to put the new races in. They're the same exact size, so you know it's going to work good. You just use the face of them and tap on the back. This part's kind of the messy part. You got to grease everything up. You got to pack these roller bearings full of grease. You just can't smooth grease on the outside of them. You actually get it on the inside the best that you can. That's pretty much it. You're going to be putting your forks back on. Torque these bolts, the bottom bolts, to spec before you torque the top ones. That should get the head or your triples aligned correctly. Then you can torque this top nut. Refer to the manual obviously for that. I just got to read through it real quick and make sure I'm doing it right and get the right numbers. I haven't put the forks back on yet because the next episode I will be replacing the fork seals and revalving my front forks. I will also be revalving the rear shock. That should be like 2 different episodes. So that's it for now. If you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow this build, Project Frankenripper. I'm going to be racing this in a sprint series. So hit that subscribe button and I will see everyone on the next one.